everyone, Justine with Blue Jay Orchids. Welcome back to my channel. We have a very good video today. We have the Krull Smith Show. Yes, I know it happened earlier in April, which is now last month. But it took me a little bit to get all the stuff I wanted for the video as far as photos and information. I did mention in my last video that I took one of my orchids to AOS judging, which they had at Krull Smith, and I will be talking more about that later. And I might talk a little bit about it over some of the footage I have of the Krull Smith show. And there is a very good haul as well, which you will want to stay for. And then there's going to be a mix of voiceover, maybe some music. We'll see. And then a story in the mix of all this, as well as me explaining the haul and all that. And then this is just a random cat at Krull Smith. It does have a name. I forgot its name, but she is the sweetest. And she just is staring into your soul in that photo, and I just think she's cute. So yes, it's kind of completely random. Yeah. So without further ado, let's jump into it with some of the Krull Smith footage, and I will be checking in with you throughout the video. Looking at the display at Krull Smith, amazing cymbidium, some amazing Pathopedalums. They only really do this display when they have a show, but it's really hard to describe it in words. It's just so pretty. Still looking at the same display, some beautiful, more compact Vandas and some newer Vanda crosses. The lip on this one, just, they're very, I don't know, just something about them. And then these slipper orchids or Pathopedalums, just, like I said, no words. You just really got to go see it once. So this view is me trying to look at the whole display in just one take. Kind of going slower and focusing in on a few things. But I highly encourage you to see this in person because video, pictures, they just don't do this justice. And so what happens is Krull Smith and the employees all build this, and then it gets judged as a display, and then they'll also take plants out of there and judge it separately, like the plant on its own, because they actually had AOS judging on site. I actually ended up going 2 days, Friday with the main goal of shopping. And then Saturday, I went to hang out with friends, and I went to have my orchids, two of my orchids judged. And I will be talking more about that towards the end of the video and kind of explain my personal judging experience as far as, being someone that brings their plant to be judged. And should really be talking about these flowers, but oh, I like that one. Sorry, even re-looking at the video, it's just like your mouth is just dropping and you're drooling. And this is just what orchids do to people. There's a reason we have the term orchilarium, which may or may not be said correctly. But yes, if you Google it, there is actually a word named after people that go crazy for orchids. We have our own name. Don't we feel special? But yeah, I really love looking at these displays. But yeah, like I said, I will be talking more about how it was taking an orchid to judging and my experience with that. This was a beautiful orchid here. So many beautiful orchids, so many great people. Always a great time at Krull Smith. Ran into all the other YouTubers too, so that's always fun. Some beautiful cat Pecleavansis and some Ludiminiana. They had some really good options for this is all the Krull Smith showroom area. Some of the different crosses available. And then just assume we're in the Krull Smith showroom until I mention we're at a different vendor. Um, they had some good crosses. A lot of crosses are from SVO, like that Miss Wonderful. Some of it is their own breeding as well. And then when they do these big shows, they have a bunch of vendors on the outside of the grounds too. Some more plants here, and they didn't have tons of stuff blooming, but still always a good selection. Some catasetums. Also, everywhere you look, they have plants. And it's not just orchids, they have some amazing aroids, as you can see in some of the footage. Just so many amazing plants. And I love how the showroom is, I think, about a year or 2 years old now, but the new showroom is just so nice. And then I think Carl Smith will be having a July sale at some point, like they did last year. So I will keep you guys informed as to that when I get information. But that is definitely something worth going to. Some of the novelty Phalaenopsis blooming very pretty. And I see Mini Mark as well as some of the other ones. Crossmith always has some good novelty fowls. And um, lots to choose from. In the Vanda area of the Krull Smith showroom, some beautiful Vandas. The first one, I think, is the one that's actually named after Nelson. Anyone who watches Orchid YouTube knows Nelson from Nature Nell. And um, some other great Vandas as well. This Vanda here was so pretty and it smelled amazing. This was a very popular Vanda at the show, and some funny stories around it. Just loved how this looked. It was like a sea of slipper orchids. I really like slipper orchids, but I'm still kind of trying to figure out how to grow them. But they always just kind of capture my attention. Here we have Waldo Orchids, one of the guest vendors. They brought some amazing plants. They're out of New Jersey, I want to say. And they were really nice. I almost bought an orchid that was labeled something, and he's like, hold on, I think it's labeled wrong. And he actually went through his phone, found the photo, and I'm so glad he did because it was an intermedia and it was a color I already had, so I did not want it because I thought it was something else. So the fact that he took the time to do that was really nice. And then I did buy a plant from them, and you will have to wait and find out which one. I love this dendrobium, just the colors just was so pretty. I'm pretty sure this was spring water. This is spring water orchids. They always have unique plants, and he had a lot of slipper orchids as well as some more unique and different orchids as well. but definitely a lot of amazing slippers. You never know what you're going to find at Springwater Orchids. This is Brethren Orchid's tent. They were pretty busy when I was in there trying to film, which is why you can kind of see the camera doing a little bit of a dance. But one of the orchids I took to judging is actually one of their plants. And it did pretty well. I always enjoy coming and checking out the phals that they have. They always have some very interesting crosses that they've made themselves, and I don't, out of all the phals that I have, or when I say phals, phalaenopsis, that I've gotten from them, I think I've only killed like one. So their phals are always in good shape. This is Afri Orchids. This is another international vendor. They always bring a very interesting assortment of orchids. They specialize in orchids from Africa, so they have a lot of Anzelia africana as well as a bunch of different species. This is Orchid Eros. They are a company out of Hawaii, and they make some very interesting crosses. And I'm kind of kicking myself for not getting one of these crosses, but hopefully I will see it later. Funny story though. So, Krull Smith show happened April, and then for our May meeting, we actually had this grower as a speaker, and he spoke on Cattleya bifoliates, or Cattleya species, which, some are unifoliate, some are bifoliate. I can go into more detail later, but very knowledgeable grower and very good conversation, lecture, and very good plants. This is another international grower. This is, oh, so hard to say their name correctly. Xinghua. I will post a tag with their information. I typically buy quite a few plants from them, and most of my plants do very well with the process adapting to my growing environment. Because, these plants are getting shipped and stressed and all this stuff. But I've gotten some very good plants from them, and might have gotten some plants this time from them. Okay, so we have left Krull Smith now, and now we're at Orchids and Bloom. They had a show the same day and time as the Krull Smith, and because it's such a drive for us, we typically will go to both shows. And they had some beautiful plants, this Mishima Elf Blue, as well as a bunch of other beautiful cattleyas. And they had some vendors there as well, like my buddy from the Orchid Den, Josh Jones, and some other vendors. Lady Vanda was there, Accent Orchid, some vendors I don't know. Um, I was mostly just hanging out and shopping with my friends, so I didn't take that much footage, but I'll share the footage that I do have. Some beautiful white cattleyas, and then after this video starts the haul, and it's pretty good. So you'll want to stay tuned for that, and then still talking about the award as well. Hope you've enjoyed the video up to this point. And I did miss a fair bit of vendors because, like I said, I just still get overwhelmed at these shows, which I'm working on. but I'm there to have a good time with my friends too. So it's like that fine balance of hanging out, shopping, enjoying, and remembering to film. But like I said, haul coming up. This is part of the Krull Smith haul. I got this from Mike Mims from Blue Ridge Orchids. This is Chisis, Moretta, Blanc, Lego AM AOS crossed with a sibling, Duchess of Dilworth AM AOS. So 2 awarded parents, and then these are the seedlings of those 2 awarded parents. I've never grown this type, but it just was intriguing. It was different. So I figured would give it a try. And then I didn't notice it at first, now it's all I can see. It has teeth, which is hilarious because in a post I read, or I wrote about it, I'm like, this plant talked to me. And everyone's like, it has teeth. So I said, yeah, it has teeth because it talks to you. And I mean, look, it's pretty that way too. It is fragrance, kind of. Let's see, I think this flower is easier to see. It's a little bit of an awkward plant to kind of get a good look at. Here we go. That's pretty good. I don't smell it right now, but it is fragrant. Just a beautiful flower. And this I got from Mike Mims from Blue Ridge Orchids. Talked with him a lot. He was a vendor at Krull Smith. He says it's easy to grow, so we'll see. But yeah, it's definitely a unique flower. And like I said, don't have much experience with this one, but let's give it a go. So this is one of the things I got from Krull Smith. And I know Melissa and Blanca got one too. I know Melissa got like the exact same cross. But yeah, good sized plant. I think I'll leave it in here for this growing season. Next growing season, I might put it in a basket. But we'll see. Oh, I do have a time lapse on this one too, which turned out really cool. That would be in my shorts videos. I'll try to link it if I remember. Okay, here's the name of this slipper, or Pathopedalum Cross. This was also from Blue Ridge Orchids, and it is a beautiful thing. I love the coloring here and the fuzzy. The fuzzy's a lot of fun. And then inside the pouch too. I mean, and then also the back of the flower, just really pretty fuzzy. This cross is a sequential bloomer. You can see it already is getting some of the new buds. So it will just keep blooming and blooming. So definitely a fun one. Love the colors, the combo of like pink, yellow, and the center part there, the spots. I mean, there's not a whole lot I don't like about this flower. Just beautiful. I'm still kind of learning how to grow slippers, but doing pretty good. Yeah, this thing likes to... That's not me. That's all the camera doing its own thing. Yeah, it almost looks like it's potted in soil. Could just be moss or bark that's broken down. But it's happy right now, so not gonna mess with it, but I guess it could be like cocoa choir or something. But I'll probably switch it out with tree fern or something at some point. But beautiful. Just love the fuzziness. Also got this from Mike Mims from Blue Ridge Orchids. It's a cross of two phals. He's mostly known for phalaenopsis, but we will see what this baby looks like soon. And then Roxy and I both got one of these, so it'll be fun to compare the siblings. This is, so still on the Krull Smith haul. This is not Mike Mims, but this is from Krull Smith Hall as well. This should be a fun one. Just love the way the phal looked, so I don't know what the flowers will look like, but we will soon. These are two good plants though. Is there something else in this area? Yep, I have some other stuff in this area too. This was also from the Krull Smith Hall. I think this was okay, good, they put the name on the back. It's a very interesting cross. Just something I haven't seen really before. This was Orchids or something. One of these days I need to learn how to say their name, but I have a lot of orchids from them. Bear with me while I put the tag back. So I got this one, and then I got this right here too. Potted this up. This is a real interesting cross as well. Rhynchonopsis Dragon Charmy. Really cool flower. So I'm rooting it in there and then it will live outside. Is there anything else? This is the pot I got at the Inglewood Orchid Society from Natalia from Just One More Orchid. And this is a plant I divided with my friend I went to Krull Smith with, Claudette. And this is the Blue Elf. Mishima Blue Elf. Yeah. There you go. So I have a little baby blue elf, but I'm impatient, so now I have a bigger blue elf. So once this establishes, it should be blooming not too long. But thank you, Claudette, for this going halvesies with me. Very happy to now have a nice, more blooming size blue elf. Gonna turn you off so I can put this down without dropping something. Also got this, a psychopsis from Josh from the Orchid Den. Josh was at Orchids and Bloom, and that is where this is from and where the blue elf was from. Everything else was the Krull Smith show. But then I had one and it didn't do well, so I'm gonna try it again. So here's to wishing me luck, because these can be a little finicky. Put that back in there. There we go. Oh, and then this I will talk about in my next video, because I have an unboxing from Ruben, who works with, he gets a lot of his plants from Sunset Valley. So we'll talk about that in my next video. But have some really cool plants from that. But back to what we were talking about, which is the haul. So let's see if I missed anything. I'm gonna turn it off while I think about it for a sec. Okay, I found something I was almost forgetting about. I got pots from Roxy from Orchid 365 too. She was not a vendor at Krull Smith, but she was there hanging out, and I met up with her and we did some fun. We had lunch at Mount Dora and just kind of explored. But this is a beautiful plant I got from Waldor Orchids. I'll put a picture of the tag and the flower, but it is like kind of a Cerulean alba-y amethyst glossa. It was really pretty. So it now lives in here. So I got that pot from Roxy. This teapot over here. What else did I get? Oh, the basket, because I had a repotting I needed to do. Where is this tag from? Good days. Oh, belongs here. Here we go. And then, oh, sorry, zoomed in. And then got this teapot for my mother-in-law for her birthday / Mother's Day. Repotted a plant in here. Need to add a hanger. I need to water this, but I feel like there's something else too. Maybe it's inside. I do have one more plant inside. I think that's just about it. Alright, so I forgot this. This was one of the things I picked up from one of the international vendors at the Krull Smith Show. Where's the tag? I think the tag is, there you go. Fafon Black Snake number 6. And then it was from, they don't have their name on here, but Misho Orchids or something. And then I forgot something else. Let's find something else I forgot. Got this from my buddies at, I'm trying to figure out how to say their name correctly. Kjaran Greens, I believe. And they're always fun to talk to. I got a bunch of plants from them from the Tammy Emmy show, and they're all still alive, and now they're throwing roots. So that's always a good sign. And always have a good chat with them. I did not film them because they were actually pretty empty when I saw them, even on Friday. And they did sell out of my blue cattleya they were supposed to be saving for me, which I will not stop giving them, fun little hassle until I get one. But this was interesting. I'm into like the weird orchids right now, like the leafless, the ghost, which is what this is, a ghost orchid, the onion orchids, which is what my friends and I call them, but they're like the paraphalaenopsis orchids. Just, kind of experimenting and trying out different things, but this will be fun. I need to put the name on here. And I did forget this. I don't have, mine is not blooming, but I did get a mini fox, which is, I forget the cross. But if you Google orchid mini fox, this will show up, and it is the correct cross, most likely. And then mine is not in bloom, but it has bloomed in the past. So looking forward to seeing these type of flowers. And that concludes the haul, so now just time for the sign off and the little discussion of the award, which I'm a little excited about, which is why I've been hinting, during the whole video about it. So here's the story with the AOS judging. So this is Brethren Imp. This is the plants I took for judging. You can see grown it for a while. It lives right here. It likes to attach to the wall, so sometimes I have to rip it off, which is sad. But only one spike, but it had 5 flowers. And it won an HCC. So it is official. I got to give it a clonal name and everything. So if you look on the American Orchid Society's website and you're a member, you can actually look at some of the pictures. And then I will, talk a little bit more about this at the end too, and I will throw in the award photos and give you guys a little bit of information as far as what it's like to take a plant to judging. But saw this right here and wanted to share it. So here are the photos that go with the award. And then here's the funny thing, which I didn't realize because this is my first AOS judging. I've entered shows with my society before, but this was the first time I had to bring a plant and it was standing, by itself with, I think there was like 100-ish plants or something that were also getting judged. And they had groups of judges. And then it was kind of like a nerve-wracking process doing it for the first time. But the people were really nice. My plant was one of the last plants to be judged. So I got up pretty early in the morning, drove there, and then was stuck waiting like all day. And I'm like, okay, well, my plant's not going to get awarded after all this, and kind of feeling mildly sorry for myself. But then I get the call because they take your number down, and if you get an award, you have a certain amount of time, and you have to come up with a clonal name. So I had already kind of had a name in mind because talking to my other orchid friends, there was a very good chance that this was going to get awarded. And but then they had to do the photo taking process, and then here's the interesting thing. You actually have to pay for the award, which I didn't know. But, in hindsight, thinking about it, like, you get these professional photos. Like, the photos are more than worth the amount of the award. And then if you join the AOS, which I've been meaning to anyway, you get a discount off the award. So I am now a member of the American Orchid Society, which is what the AOS is. And I have been enjoying some of the information. And then you also get discounts if you do like a 2-year membership. So that's a lot of fun. And yeah, it was a really good experience. I learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to continuing to grow my collection with the thought process of growing award quality plants. And now I have my first one. First of many. So this one had an HCC, but it was almost an AM. And what that means is different levels of flower quality. You can get a flower quality award or you can get a cultural award. So this one got a low flower quality award, but that's still, for perspective, out of like 100 plants, I think there were only 30 plants that got awarded. So overall, it's a big deal. And then the last slide is the award, like certificate, because I did the digital award. So you can get an award that they print to you, or you can get a digital award, which is what's this one is, and then you can just print it out yourself. So I went with the digital award, and yeah, that's my story. I can now say I am an awarded orchid grower with an award quality plant. So that's pretty cool. And then, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As usual, You guys know the drill. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that. All that good stuff. And I have an unboxing video, and then also working on a bloom video. I am almost caught up. I know, I'm dragging. But we're getting there. So, look forward to seeing you guys on the next video and out and about in the orchid world. So as always, keep growing. Bye.